Hey, everybody. We played an entirely rotated 11, don't tell Poch, against Uruguay and beat them 5-1. It was a rare treat. Some are calling it a signature win. Greg Velasquez is on the mic today. Another treat. Greg, how did this happen? Can you help us understand the miracle at Raymond James Stadium?
You can't explain a miracle, Bells, but you sure as hell should enjoy them. And I really enjoyed this. I feel like my bit for this is going to be that this whole window, I feel like, was a nice lesson in certainty, right? In the sort of humility that maybe should come with that. There's an old film from the 1900s that had a line about dealing in absolutes.
The 1900s.
And it turns out that it's both the Sith and USMNT Twitter that tend to traffic in these. And we'll start with our favorite, which is Gio Reyna. And I feel like going into this window, there were so many people who were certain that Gio Reyna just can't figure for the national team, right? Because he's not playing. Why would he be a part of this team? He's not playing. He would
credible people were saying this. Yeah.
It's just again, to me, it's a completely different way of like understanding even probabilities. Like there's no way he will play. He can't, he's not playing at all. Like, yeah, but surely there are ways that he might start playing for his club, and then surely but we've been adamant he doesn't even necessarily need to do that to make an impact for the national team. And that was maybe on display in this window. There are people who were certain that the lineup we put out yesterday was the worst lineup. It was a waste of a window. The initial roster was a waste of a window. What are we doing? We're wasting this window. Yesterday's lineup is wasting a chance to play against a good team. And I'm just like, I'm curious how much people are going to be like, maybe there are some things that we just got to kind of find out as we go.
Yeah.
we aren't sure exactly what some of these guys are capable of and how they should be set up.
I mean, it's almost as much of a rebuke to me as it is to anybody, I mean, I feel differently about Max Arfston now than I did in the summer. I think he's a quite solid contributor and maybe even better than that. And I do want to play, I was pretty low on Berhalter, pretty low on Austin Trusty. I'm still kind of bearish on Diego Luna, but all of these guys, Luna scored a goal. Berhalter obviously scored a goal and assisted another one and had a huge night. I thought Trusty was really good in this game against Uruguay. And this was not Uruguay's B team. They were missing Darwin Nunez and Federico Valverde, but outside of that, they had, I think, everybody. Maybe I think goalkeeper is another one which maybe we'll get into that later. This was not their first choice goalkeeper between the posts. But anyway, it was a pretty strong Uruguay team. And then we go out there and we beat them with this lineup and beat them soundly. It is crazy. Soccer's a crazy game.
And again, even to extend the certainty thing more, like just to be cautious here. I hate to already have a wet blanket ready because this was fun and it's fun to watch the lads go out and do this to a good team, to a manager that was always sort of in the murmurings of should we get him for the U.S. men's national team manager, and to really pants them the way we did. But there are some shades of like the Morocco friendly before the 2022 World Cup that summer before, where we kind of pants Morocco a little bit, where the numbers were a little bit flattering, the actual goals scored were a little flattering for us. That probably is in play a little bit from last night.
Yeah.
And then also maybe the intensity that Uruguay was bringing in this game was not that high. Just from the rewatch, I'm like, oh man, this is rough. This is really rough stuff from Uruguay. Like they're a mess. They're not actually trying that hard and they're a shambles structurally. So it's going to be like, we also shouldn't be certain now that the guys who did well yesterday are keyed in contributors at a high level, or that Pochettino is like fix everything and it's all this culture stuff that he's been preaching and it's all fixed and we are a force to be reckoned with. Like we just got to be careful on that takeaway too.
Yeah Don't get too high, don't get too low. I do want to play, this is kind of a long clip from the press conference because and I'll give the context for it. Doug McIntyre, great friend of the podcast, and then Paul Tenorio. Both asked questions. They were different, but they were both questions related to, we don't have the regulars here. We don't have nobody said the words, but the first choice 11. And, McIntyre asked about that. Poch rejected the question. And then Tenorio asked about it, like sort of piggybacking off that. So like, what does it say about the program that you can, that all the parts seem pretty interchangeable now? So Tenorio, and then Poch misunderstood, like Tenorio was just trying to like keep going with this where are the regulars question, and he got really mad. And I want to play, and then he got a question from Stephen Goff, which you'll hear, and he responded sarcastically to that. And I just want to play the whole clip because there's a lot of sort of, I appreciate all the reporters involved because they elicit this emotional response from Poch. It's almost better for there to have been this misunderstanding than for him to just to understand the question and say, yeah, we've worked really hard. We're going to be good no matter who we throw out there. We're going to, whatever sort of vanilla answer. Yeah, he could have given to that. But the fact that he misunderstood and then got mad made it pretty cinematic. So let's just listen to it. It's like a minute and 20 seconds, I think. So here we go.
Maybe I am tired and I don't understand the English now, or your English question, because I don't. To be honest, very disappointed in the first two questions, because I don't know what do you expect, what I'm going to say when you say no natural player playing today or the another day or in the Gold Cup or I don't know when. Very sad situation. Keep going.
I'm Rosiowski.
Please. Third question, no regular player.
The pressure is great. Okay, so on the first goal, Sebastian plays it short to Serginho. So in a situation like that, do the players have the freedom of thought to come up with that, or is that something that you work on as a set
No, we didn't
play,
work. All was coincidence.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, he was, if you could see his face through all of this, which you can if you go on YouTube and watch the video, he's so exasperated with everybody. And I think what I like about it is everybody knows this isn't like on paper or even in reality a first choice 11, including Marcelo Bielsa, as Felipe Cardenas reported. Bielsa said, in no way should the best Uruguayan players lose a match against the second string group of the United States. He said this after the game. Bielsa, of whom Pochettino is an acolyte, said this after the game. So what I like about this is the depth of feeling Poch has about not, one, disrespecting the players who are on the field, and two, sending the message. I think this is what this really comes down to: continuing to send the message to the whole player pool that there is no free lunch. There is nobody who's gonna like walk into this World Cup roster. I think that's primarily what's going on here, and it's very theatrical and everything. But I think that he's, even after a 5-1 win, he is not forgetting like his core message to the players, which is you're all competing for a spot to go to the World Cup, so you better keep working hard. And I like
brilliant.
that.
Yeah, it's brilliant. I love it. I loved it the first time he said it, where he said, "Who's players? Your list? Do you have a list?"
Yeah, yeah. He's been very consistent. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. And so I guess that's with that. Let's do the lineup. Unless you got something else on that.
Oh, just that I absolutely do have my list of players, Poch. But what I love is, and we all do because we're all nerds about this. But what I love is again that uncertainty of like, we've talked about this too. Like once you're kind of moving down to some of the players we've been including, then it shouldn't really be surprising that Timmy Tillman gets called in, because Timmy Tillman's just another guy. But we're at the point where we're just calling guys. We don't have 23, as Poch said, we don't have 23 Pelés out there like that. We're not calling up Maradonas. Like we just have a bunch of guys. So if it's Roldan, if it's Timmy Tillman kind of coming in and they make a case, like it can't be that crazy that they're making the case when Aiden Morris is one of the other guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would just say Morris not that impressive in this window. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I feel like it's stocked down 2 windows in a row for Aiden. I feel like he's the one who's gonna be really, really having to scramble as we get closer to June.
Yeah. But it's okay because so many other guys are stock up. Let's see. Matt Freese in goal. We'll get into his stock in a little bit. Alex Freeman got his brace in this game. He played right back. So it's I guess we're calling it a 4-1-2-3, maybe. Is that fair? Something like that. Well, it's different in possession and attack, obviously.
Yeah.
But, so anyway, Freeman was the right center back in possession, and the right back in when we were defending. McKenzie, Trusty, and John Tolkien across the back line. So a completely rotated back line. And then Aiden Morris, Sebastian Berhalter, and Tim Tillman in the midfield, and then Dest at right wing, Haji Wright at striker, and Diego Luna at left wing. Only guys who started both games in this window are Dest and Freeze.
And amazingly, again, Dest starting both games at right winger.
Yeah. Right. After along with Poch saying he needs to get better at defending, which I think probably is why he's playing right wing.
I assume so, right? So we don't, again, with Poch, this whole time he's been our manager, we have had massive personnel deficiencies as far as like who's been available. Sometimes it's been forced upon us. Sometimes Poch maybe has sort of made the call himself to leave like out the regulars. Now we got to second guess it every time we say that. The first string players. But we don't know if Dest playing the right wing here is because we're so thin in impact players there for this window, or if it's because given everyone fully healthy, he still maybe just doesn't trust Dest as a right back to do the job.
Yeah.
So many questions that we just keep not getting answers to.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll do the Uruguay lineup and then let's talk about the shape a little bit because there's more to say about that. But Uruguay was Fier Marin in goal. He plays for Tolima and Liga MX. He has 2 caps, or had 2 caps going into this game. I don't think he had a great game. Nahitan Nandez, who plays in the Saudi League. Ronald Araujo, who is often the captain for Barcelona. Matias Oliveira from Napoli, and Matias Vina from Flamengo across the back line. And then Manuel Ugarte from Manchester United and Rodrigo Betancourt from Tottenham in the midfield, with Rodrigo Salazar from Braga in Portugal at right wing, Georgian de Arrascaeta from Flamengo, easily the most impressive player of the game for Uruguay, as the 10, and then Maximiliano Araujo from Sporting in Portugal at left wing, and then Federico Vinas from Real Oviedo at striker. So yeah, again, no Valverde, no Nunez, but a pretty decent 11, much stronger, at least in the Badge FC category, than the one that drew Mexico a few days ago.
Yeah, very good players. Again, not sure what the how motivated they were. I wanted to bring up to you the comparison from this game to the Copa matches, where every single Copa match we watch, you walk away, it's almost like gladiatorial. Like those matches were so like visceral in their intensity. This could not have been farther from that for Uruguay.
Yeah, it was not like that. I mean, I think we were a little more gladiatorial than they were, in this game. We got a lot of fight out there, Greg. I know you love talking about that.
I do think it matters. I mean, I do think we were battling. Like, I definitely don't think there was anything soft about the way we were approaching this match.
Yeah. And there are whispers. I mean, I don't know if this is true, but there are whispers that they want Bielsa fired, and they may have been motivated in that direction.
Like full on tanking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think so, but
Yeah.
but it's not it's obviously not a squad that's like clicking on all cylinders right now, or at least not last night.
Well, when you run into one of those squads, you absolutely pants them, and that's what we need to do. Because you can even run into that situation at a World Cup.
Yeah,
It's not always likely, but you can hit a team in disarray at the World Cup, and it kind of cracks under that stress, and you got to score the goals.
Yeah, they they possessed a little bit in our half, for some stretches in the first half, but really not much. And the goal was like a moment of brilliance from them, was a moment of brilliance in a bit of a scramble. Let's go to the shape. So I thought it was something like a 3-1-4-2 in possession, and basically a 4-4-2 in defense. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's what I'd call it. I mean, you could maybe call it a 4-4-1-1,
Yeah.
with Tillman kind of lagging behind Hadji a lot of times up in the same line as him. But then as Uruguay, depending on how their build out shape was evolving, he might sag back to sort of shadow some of the guys off the center backs line. And then there actually were moments. I know we've been adamant that through all this talk of three at the back that I feel like is surrounding us in some of the other national team discussions. Poch has very much been doing four at the back, pretty standard four back systems, with the exception of South Korea second half, Japan for basically the full match, and then a little bit in the second half against Ecuador. But it's basically been four backs, and he's just been playing weird personnel there.
Yeah.
There were times where it started to look like a little five at the back towards the end of the first half, but it kind of seemed like it was more just Diego Luna taking breaks in the back line next to Tolkien. If he got back there, he was just in no hurry to get back up. And we weren't really pressing. We were pretty passive in our block. So he didn't need to be. He wasn't leaving anyone out to dry by sitting back there. And it might have been beneficial for both him and Tolkien.
Yeah. So he would have been like the wing back in a five back formation, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So I thought right away, again, like almost every soccer game, it was pretty choppy in the first few minutes, but a particular bit of messiness from Tim Tillman in our defensive third around the 3-minute mark. He had 2 of these on the game. Neither was punished, but I mean, he's got to be a little cleaner than this. Nothing came of it. I think Berhalter like won it right back after he lost it.
Yeah, he won it right back, gave it right back to Tillman, and Tillman like popped it up to somebody again on a short pass. So it was a rough stretch for Tillman for 2 straight touches, but then he had some clean ones in the build up later on.
Totally, yeah. And I think we kind of emerged from that early scrappiness a little bit on the strength of Serginho Dest, who gets played in behind down the right wing right at the end of the 4th minute by Freeman. He shoulders a guy, puts him off balance, and then collects it, and then sauces a little bit on the right touchline against Viña and Arrascaeta. The crowd appreciated it, and it kind of settled things down for us. And from then on, it seemed like we were comfortable in possession. All of this is going to be in the clip notes, by the way, which you can get if you join the Patreon at the $5 or more level. 7th minute, good work coming back to the ball from right on a Trusty pass. Trusty was not afraid to play it on the ground into the center circle, into midfield, which, I'm sure has something to do with the level of intensity from Uruguay, but also it's nice that he's, hitting these passes. He's much better at this than I thought he would be. Wright's really strong, keeps it, finds feet on the left touch line. So his back to goal play, I think, is a little bit improved over like a year ago, as Vince has talked about repeatedly on the Monday Review. But I think you saw that a little bit today.
Generally doing more striker stuff, right? Being more of a nuisance to center backs, which is huge because it really is a battle for Balo's backup right now. It seems like
it does seem that way, doesn't it? Pepe didn't even get into this game. 8-minute mark, we played it to Wright's feet, and he turns and shoots from the edge of the box. It's blocked, but again, some solid work with his back to goal. And we look, pretty good as the 10-minute mark rolls around.
Yeah, and we are looking good. We're making composed decisions. It's not always super clean. So again,
No.
like there's a ton of opportunity afforded us because Uruguay just like their amoeba basically is terrible. They just have it terrible to the point where they kind of don't have one. Where especially when we start building from deep with goalkeepers and center backs in our own box, that was almost the best time for us best place for us to have the ball because they just were not connecting at all. You'd either the forwards would come all the way up, and the midfield line would either come up with the forwards and leave a huge gap between them and the backs, or they'd stay with the backs, and we could just easily bypass their forward three to the midfielders, like to Morris and Berhalter, and it was just such a simple task. We weren't like necessarily earning it the way we had to against Paraguay. Paraguay's lines were really tight. Like it was impressive how little room there was. And every time we threaded a ball in from the center backs to the midfielders, it was sort of like earned. Like it was tough. Someone had to execute something, minimally impressive. And it just wasn't the case here. It was just like, it was a stroll in the park. I saw comments saying, why does it seem like the U.S. have 12 players? And sometimes that can be as a result of your own tactical genius, like legitimately, like you've put together a really good plan that has done that. Sometimes it can be your own nuance and talent. Like when we watched Switzerland carve us up repeatedly in that friendly, it was like Switzerland have this subtlety about them and their understanding of the game that is really on display. We didn't have to do any of that yesterday. It doesn't mean we couldn't have done it, but we didn't have to do that yesterday to just get the ball upfield running downhill.
How does a Bielsa coached team end up in such disarray if not for some level of self-sabotage,
Yeah, so it's either I'm not jumping all the way to self-sabotage like we're done with this guy, we want him out, this is how we're going to show it on the field. It could just be, again, total indifference, which you don't associate that with the Bielsa team, but it's a friendly. They've just gone through the gauntlet of qualifying. South American. So it could just be like, these are the friendlies. We're essentially on vacation. We're just cruising now, cruise control. Once we get to the World Cup, things will, be back on. But this is a stroll for us. I don't know. It could very well be the end of Bielsa.
Yeah, that'd be sad. It was fun to watch him just impassively sitting on that water cooler the whole time. Like he barely moved from that spot. Poch barely moved from his seat either. I don't know if it was a little bit like not celebrating a goal against your home team, the way he didn't celebrate any of the goals, but he sat there and kept his own counsel after every goal. Okay, Wright wins another one at midfield at the 12:25 mark, and it's like it's a long kind of driven pass. He juggles it really high up in the air, and then it just kind of, as he's like battling, it bounces off his back to Luna. And Luna has Tolkien, in miles of space down that left wing, nobody even close to him. And he does try to pass it to him, but he can't connect. It just hits it off the head of the nearest defender. And I feel like this is a theme for Diego. It's just, he scored a goal in this game, and it was a nice, like one of the cleanest side foot finishes you'll see all week. But he does not connect passes when you feel like he should, like there's other ways to get this ball to Tolkien than to just bang it off the head of the nearest defender.
Yeah, the screenshot you have here is exactly kind of what I'm talking about Uruguay's amoeba too. So we zaprudered to death, as we do, the goal we gave up to Paraguay, right? Where we're using words like, how are we so bad at defending? How are we so, how do we make this so easy for Paraguay? And we're talking about like leaving a guy onside by like half a tibia, and him running full speed, Miggy having to run on the dead sprint, one time volleying a ball across the field as the only play he could have to keep their scoring chance alive. And we're looking at the screenshot of Tolkien, who is held onside by like 4 yards by an absolutely ragged Uruguay backline, like not even a backline to speak of. No one within 10 yards of him, no one facing the right way to defend him. And this was just like, I was stopping the screen every minute and a half to like pause it and be like, what is happening here?
Huh.
How is this the defensive shell that Uruguay are employing in this match? And it was upfield, midfield, defensive third. Like it was everywhere.
Huh.
And that kind of goes back into why I was saying we weren't as clean as we could have been. They were giving us a lot of these downhill looks, and we weren't executing. But then the flip side is we executed the hell out of the last 20 yards to the goal.
Yeah.
It was hard to shoot.
Well, we even got some lucky. I mean, I'm not wet blanketing it. I had an absolute blast watching this game, and I'm having a blast talking about it. But some of our execution, even in the final third, was like, for instance, the Tillman cutback for the Luna goal that was aimed at Haji Wright, and it just took a perfect deflection into Luna's path, And we had a few other cutbacks from that area of the field that were, cut out with, a casualness that was breathtaking from Uruguay. I mean, like we didn't test them at all in times when we could have tested them.
1,000%. When I'm talking about the execution, I'm literally talking about as the ball left our foot and then the ball traveling into the net.
Okay. Got it.
That execution was spot on yesterday.
Yeah, excellent.
We should do that all the time.
So 14-minute mark, Tolkien wins a ball, played into the right wing's feet, just kind of crashes into him, wins it straight to Haji. Haji drives at the left side of the goal and wins a foul just outside the box. And on the ensuing free kick, Berhalter whips it in, but the ref wants to have it, and I think it gets headed in by a Uruguay player, but the ref wants to have a chat with Ugarte for body slamming Trusty, so that gets chalked off. And then we have another chance, and this time we do like a training ground routine, which is what Stephen Goff asked about, and Pochettino sarcastically said it was a coincidence that happened. Berhalter taps it to Dest. Dest taps it right back to him, and Berhalter just whips it in at the far post. A little bit reminiscent of Toni Kroos at the what World Cup was that?
That was 2018, right?
Okay, 2018. Yeah.
Didn't get him into the knockout rounds though. It was all Mexico.
That's right. I mean, the goalkeeper, Berhalter whips it in at the far post. Goalkeeper flaps at it, but Wright is also rising toward it, right in front of him, and is all up in his space. And he doesn't really have a chance. Berhalter take a bow. I love the conception and the execution here. 1-0 USA.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Really slick. It's a maybe a underrated touch from Dest to just cushion it the way he did. I know it sounds ridiculous, but like he has to do this kind of perfectly so that he doesn't handcuff Berhalter. And Haji challenging for this is also huge, and I think he's onside at the time of the shot. So I don't think he's off. If VAR thought he was off, if there were VAR, if this was a World Cup, they definitely look at it, because if he was off, I think it'd get called back. Or if they thought he fouled the keeper, it would get called back. But I think he did just enough to be onside and not foul the keeper, but make the keeper do the like not quite full extension dive.
Yeah,
you see it a lot when they dive at their own post too, where like you keep that shoulder turtled a little bit and don't really get that full arm stretch because you're bracing for the contact. And I think Haji affected him.
Yeah, because you think about you have your ribs totally exposed while somebody's like jumping at you. You just it's almost impossible to avoid the instinct to turtle up a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's like your spine, like you're almost like turtling to protect you don't want to crash head first into another person's body.
Yeah.
So good on Haji.
Well done, Haji. Now, as I'm watching, I'm like, well, here comes the Uruguay equalizer for sure. That seems to be our pattern, but it wasn't to be. 19-minute mark, so less than 5 minutes after the goal, we work it to Berhalter's feet with space in our half, and he loops through that sort of shambolic amoeba that you've been talking about. He loops a long ball down into the corner for Tolkien. He whacks it off some Uruguayan shins, and we win another corner. And this corner is just as straightforward as you can imagine. Right at the end of the 20th minute, he hits a good set piece, Berhalter does, to the back post. Freeman rises over Betancourt. the Uruguay captain, and nods it back to the near post. Really good header to generate that enough power and the right placement to make it impossible to stop. 2-0 USA. Freeman's first goal for the US. What a night for him and the entire Freeman family.
Yeah, and we're at this point we're feeling great about our set pieces, right? That's 2 set pieces that we've capitalized on. That has been sort of a point of emphasis for us following the team as something we haven't been getting a rich vein of goals from. So again, we'll have to see if this is something that can translate. And the big question, of course, because the guy we associate with the failure of set pieces for the long time now has been Christian Pulisic, someone who we assume Pochettino considers a regular. And so we'll have to see if Pulisic comes back and is put on set piece duty or if he misses out.
Well, I'll tell you what my vote is. Take Pulisic off set piece duty. I mean, the amount of danger we've left on the table by letting him take all the set pieces for the last, I mean, it's basically 5 years. He doesn't take all of them, but most of them. It's a travesty. Because I don't think we score either of these goals if he's taking the set pieces. I mean, maybe we do that. Maybe we do the same training ground routine as we did with Berhalter, and he curls one in from that angle. It's not impossible, but yeah, I really do hope Poch replaces him on the set pieces, and I think it's probably going to happen.
The other question is going to be: are the guys who are taking these set pieces going to be in the 11? So is Berhalter going to be in 11?
Or Maximilian Arfsten, who takes a pretty nice corner kick.
Yeah,
or
John Tolkien.
Yeah,
that's an interesting one. Tolkien. So you talked about during the summer not being sure about where Arfsten was, or maybe having that much confidence in him. And the guy that a lot of people wanted to see more of was John Tolkien. And we still don't know for sure if Tolkien is good. And now that, I mean, you hate to say it, but you have to wonder when we start thinking, well, we're going to need a backup for Arfsten because Jedi's not going to be available and we need 2 left backs. So maybe John Tolkien has a path into this squad.
I thought he played really well last night too. I mean, you may disagree, but I especially love his. Well, it's coming up here in the timeline, but his 2 actions on the. I think, what was it? Yeah, his 2 actions on the 4th goal were like really clean and nice. I mean, he had plenty of time, but he still had to do it exactly right. Greg's smiling at me which means he.
I'm laughing because I'm thinking about that sequence on that 4th goal, and it is such like a what is happening here against an elite, storied opponent.
Yeah,
that John Tolkien has just somehow forgot about. Again, that college wide receiver situation where it's like, do they not know he's on the field?
Yeah, Trusty kind of threw a fade at him on the sideline. Wasn't necessary because he was wide open. Okay, so we're up 2-0, and we want more. 24th minute, nice first time ball on a recovery from Morris in our half, out to Luna wide left. He goes at his guy into the box, loses it. Berhalter wins it back, gets poked away from him. Morris arrives and shoots far post with his right foot, draws a good save at the far post, and right tracks it down at the end line and wins a corner. Yeah, I guess it's all invalidated, but there were lots of nice passing sequences sort of from back to front.
And I don't want to invalidate him totally. I don't know how much we're going to see him translate against our next really good opponent. But the mentality to go forward when we would turn them over, I think is meaningful. I think that matters. And to push and to be like, okay, there is a window. We're pushing through it. We're not just going to be like, okay, well, what we do now is reset, regroup, get our shape, start working around until we can, try to work through them. It was like, no, go. Like, we just took it from them. Go.
Yeah.
So I think that matters. Again, we weren't necessarily very clean with it. This was one that came off. But the mentality to go, I think, is good and meaningful.
Yeah. 28th minute, Uruguay wins a corner and it gets cleared by Dest out of a crowd at the penalty marker. And Arrascaeta meets it from 30 yards, absolutely smokes it off the top corner of the crossbar. What a hit. That thing is still shaking, but still 2-0. And then we score. We score again. 31st minute. It's Tolkien takes a corner that was won somewhat harmlessly, and it's cleared out. Dest recycles it over to Morris. Morris over to Tillman, over to Trusty, who's kind of in a left wing spot. And he plays a good pass into Berhalter. So this is what one thing I liked about Trusty is like he was picking out passes and hitting them with some competence, even in the final third. Berhalter loses it. Tillman makes a good sliding challenge to win it back, and then passes it to Trusty, who plays a delicate little one-touch pass to spring Freeman into the box. And then he puts on his ski goggles and slaloms past Barcelona captain Ronald Araujo, holds off Ugarte, and then shoots. It deflects in off of Oliveira's outstretched foot and makes it unstoppable as it goes in at the near post. As I watched the replay, I was like, it might have gone in anyway, even if Oliveira hadn't stuck his foot out, because the keeper was, I'm not sure what the keeper was doing, but he was kind of
doing genuflect. He was genuflecting
Okay.
at the last second to try to, stay big but protect the 5-hole, the nutmeg. So if Freeman smacks it straight at the keeper's chest, it's saved. If he goes anywhere else with it and it's on frame, it's probably in, because it almost looked like it was going wide of the goal, right? Like it was going to be very much in at the far post if it doesn't get deflected past the keeper to the near post. So I mean, it's just a scramble and Freeman hits it hard towards the goal and it goes in.
Yeah.
But the slalom's great. It's a good reminder that even, because we watch our center backs not handle business and comment on it quite a bit. Richards against Australia comes to mind as sort of our center back one. And we were not thrilled with that kind of performance. And it's like, man, sometimes those guys just don't handle business.
How much do you think Poch is like assessing the intensity of the Uruguay performance and their shape, and how much, or lack of shape, I guess, and how much he assesses the players on his team? He must be, right?
I imagine it factors in. Yeah. I don't think that Poch thinks that Freeman is now going to be a slaloming, Dest level slashing attacker with the ball at his feet. I don't think he's going to think that Aiden Morris and Berhalter are now two guys who can carve up a Uruguay caliber opponent moving the ball up the midfield, or that Tim Tillman can drop a line and do the same, kind of float between attack and center mid. So I assume he's just happy that the guys stood up and were representing us well. Like, I think that's a big deal for him, and they absolutely did that. But I don't know that he's necessarily going to. I think he's already thought that they can do that. That's his whole thing, right? Like, he believes in people.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the guys who've sort of he's filtered up into to stay in the program through the Gold Cups and January camps and Nations Leagues. And so I think he already has that belief in them. And so but I don't think that this is going to necessarily vault anybody super high up his packing order. If he even believes in that premise. I mean, he has to essentially make calls. And we now have, between these players and the players left off of the roster, we have more than 26. So he's making calls.
He's called up 71 players, I think I saw somewhere. Maybe we should do some kind of draft, some kind of bracket to see who makes it to the World Cup. But not that he could have done anything. Okay, so he was genuflecting, which is maybe all he could do at that point. He seemed like he was a little bit in no man's land to me. But what did you make of the Uruguay goalkeeper's performance overall?
So I don't really put him on the first 4 goals. Fifth goal, he's a mess. We'll get to, but okay. But no, not. I mean, there isn't really. He couldn't come out and claim that. There's not much you can do when your center back gets rinsed 4 yards from the goal. Like, you're not coming out before the center back has a chance, his opportunity to defend it. So you're at home. And then once he gets beat that badly, and Freeman is just staring now at the goal from 6 yards out, there's nothing you can do. You take your big step forward, hoping that you close the angle down. You stay as big as you can. And then you're just praying that he hits it wide of the frame or hits it at you. I mean, we saw Uruguay hit their best chance wide of the frame. I know the post gets all the attention. They're shot off the woodwork. But they had their best chance was that little tap from 6 yards out.
Yeah, also from Arrascaeta after the Aiden Morris giveaway.
Yeah. And so you don't say Freese did anything amazing on that play. The guy just missed his target.
36-minute, really nice sequence for us, ends with which there were many of, ends with an errant Luna pass. I just wanted to clock that, 35-35 mark. And then 38th and 39th minutes, we're probing. Tillman cut back, gets cut out. Haji cut back, gets cut out. Dest dribbles into the box and loses it. 41st minute, a real nice back to front possession sequence for us, ends in a Berhalter cross that's claimed by Fiermarin. But 6 out of 10 players touched it, and we worked our way from Trusty to the edge of the box. And then 42nd minute, we get our what are we at now?
This is four. This is fourth goal. Goals.
Yeah, fourth goal.
We Switzerland them.
I know. Trusty carries it across midfield. He does that fade pass that we're talking about for Tolkien, and he gathers it and plays Tillman into the box with two elegant little touches. And Tillman cuts it back in Wright's direction, gets deflected to Luna, and he meets it with a clean side foot finish that dives under the outstretched legs of Vina. Vina actually does like I don't know, he goes to ground but throws his legs up to try to, I think maybe with the thought that the shot was going to be smashed by Luna, but he just he played it like it just skimmed across the grass and nestled in the net. And it's 4-0. Hard to believe, really.
Yeah, 4-0. We are flying. That's a really aesthetically pleasing tuck of a goal to just tuck it in that way. I just love that.
I do too.
As a late runner, it's so pleasing. Again, making note of the way we got possession on this was, because people were talking about like, well, Uruguay didn't get a lot of chances, right? They had that one we just talked about that they poked wide. They had the crossbar, which is like, if they hit that, what do you do? That's nothing on our defense. They eventually get their goal on a bit of a mess they'll get to. But it was like, were we just defending really well? And it really also was like Uruguay just didn't care to commit to attacking. The way we get the ball we regain possession for this sequence was Uruguay's keeper has it in possession, rolls it out to his like right center back, who just takes a touch and then just slams it up to Freese, like under no pressure. No one's making a run. Like he just slams it over his entire team like he's returning it to us after an injury.
I didn't notice that.
Just get it and roll it out. And you're just like, what's happening here? Like what kind of paycheck collecting performance is this? To just sort of like, all right, you guys run your possession pattern again, see what you can do. So I was just like, because I always want to see how do we get the ball? How do we force Uruguay to give it to us? And sometimes you just sort of take what they give you.
Yeah. No wonder Bielsa was looked so grumpy the whole time.
For when a team quits, this is what it looks like.
Yeah. Oof. Okay. 44th minute chance for Uruguay. This is when Aiden Morris, the one we just talked about, Aiden Morris gifts them this by playing a pass across the top of our box, kind of to nobody, and it goes right to Ugarte, and he dinks a little pass in for Arrascaeta, who is darting in from the right, and he kind of takes it down and tries to poke it far post with his left foot and just misses wide. This is a pretty significant ding on Morris, and McKenzie was hot about it. Mark's not a guy who flies off the handle all the time. He was pretty upset. And,
yeah. It was Morris's second giveaway like this. He had an earlier one that he just, like, from deeper in our box towards the end line, that he just passed straight up field to Uruguay, and they didn't make anything of that either. But yeah, McKenzie's, I'm sure, fussy because he's like, don't make me look like the idiot here, because he ends up being the one closest to a guy unmarked at the box to tap it in. So he knows how that looks on the tape. Everyone's like, McKenzie again. Same as Trusty. Trusty had to come out and play because of Morris's giveaway also meant he wasn't in position as a center mid, so Trusty had to kind of do some covering and pulled himself out of position.
He was
also,
the one trailing Arrascaeta into the box. Yeah.
Yep, because he had to kind of fill Morris's spot. Timmy Tillman maybe could have done more to help in that moment to become a more defensive center mid. So as a keeper, I'd probably ding him a little bit. But yeah, Morris just has to be a little cleaner. Also want to point out this chance came immediately after a foul that we committed around midfield. And Haji Wright was right next to where the foul was committed and just stepped over the soccer ball. And you might remember from the Uruguay Copa game, their fast restart on that non-yellow card against us. Where
yes.
we made a huge deal about restarts and like yellow card, no yellow card, whatever. Control the ball on restarts. And Haji didn't do that. And Melissa, the sideline commentator, made a point that Pochettino was on him. Pochettino and Jesus were on Haji for stepping over that ball and not controlling the ball, the out of play ball, to deny Uruguay a fast restart.
Just pick it up, basically. And
anything. You just start dribbling it, act dumb, like, oh, I'm just juggling. Anything you want to do to not let Uruguay take the ball quickly, set it down, and play. So that's whatever you want to do. You can pass it back to somebody and be like, oh, I thought the play was still going on. Sorry. Well, like, do anything, play dumb, but just keep Uruguay from restarting it. So I love that because that's something we talk about a lot.
Yeah.
About just the basic dark artsing. And so that's obviously a thing that Poch is emphasizing if he's hammering a Haji for it at 4-0 in the first half.
Yeah. That's awesome. I didn't watch the HBO broadcast, so I didn't hear any of that.
Biggest takeaway from the game. That's the biggest thing we'll get is there's an emphasis on the dark arts.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about the Uruguay goal. It's speaking of a long lumped pass. I mean, this is Ronald Araujo gets it in his own half and then just takes a touch towards the sideline and just bangs it like into our box. But it's at a depth where it's a little bit tricky. Like, whose is it? Freeze comes out, doesn't claim it. It slides past him. And like he and Freeman sort of try to avoid a collision, I guess. And then it's cut back across. Trusty desperation poke to get it out of there. And then it goes to, I think it's Viña, and he takes like 4 or 5 touches to the end line, clips it across. Trusty heads it up, but over towards the back post to Salazar in Salazar's direction. He jumps up and forcefully heads it back across the face of the goal. And Arrascaeta bikes it past the head of Mark McKenzie into the goal. I mean, just textbook bicycle kick action here. What a strike. 4-1. All
right. I appreciate the bicycle kick. So kudos to Uruguay. That is fantastic. The mess, the initial mess for this is it's again sort of one of those perfect storms where Araujo's ball, he hits it like from the sideline, and it's got that devilish tail to it, right?
Yeah.
Like it's like by the time he gets to the box, it's actually moving horizontal.
Exactly.
And so on the audio, I don't hear Freese call for it, and I don't hear Freese say away, and that's his big mistake if that's really what happened, because he has to do one of the two. Since he doesn't, it leaves it open to interpretation, and McKenzie and Trusty just try to hold off the lone, sort of half speed moving Uruguay attacker. Instead of, because McKenzie easily could have dealt with it, like just give it a little flick towards the sideline and job's done. We'll go defend a throw in or maybe chase it down. Because we outnumber them. So any touch from McKenzie solves it. But he thinks Freese is just going to get it with his hands probably, so I can just leave it. But because it's got that horizontal movement, Freese misplays it. And then Freese still could have, but now he's going to collide with his own player, and he does the turtle and sort of pulls back his arms and doesn't go through his own man to get the ball. And it's 4-0, and I'm glad no one gets concussed on this play. But it's a mess, and it's all because Freese doesn't call for it initially. Or call for someone to play it away.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it looks like it's Freeze's mess as you're watching in real time. Does Trusty get dinged at all for the first? I mean, somebody mentioned this in the Discord, and I was like, well, where else should he head that? You know, it's like it's a clipped ball. I mean, should he head it out to the top of the box? I don't think so. I don't know if he's gonna be able to generate enough power. Just head it out for a corner kick, maybe.
I don't ding Trusty for this header because I think he heads it high enough. He doesn't want to. He can't. He can't head it out like the back of the box towards the sideline. He can't get enough power on it. But he heads it high enough and far enough in that direction that I think you'd say for him on that moment, his job was done. Then it's like head tennis, and Tolkien's got to do a little bit more. And then even that ball back across, McKenzie misses it. Like McKenzie goes up and he doesn't get beat to the ball by the bicycle kick. And he doesn't pull away because of the bicycle kick. He goes for the header with another Uruguay player. They duel for it, and it goes over both their heads. So McKenzie just misses the trajectory. If he had gotten it right, he would have gotten kicked in the face.
Yeah.
I don't know if he would take that trade-off. But yeah, he misjudges the head tennis.
Okay. All right. 4-1.
We also got to point out Freeman got rinsed on the Uruguay player attacking the end line to hit the cross in.
That's true.
A little naive. He races up at the guy, and then is like, "Oh no, I am moving too fast in this direction." And that other guy is moving the other direction, and he has passed me now.
Yeah.
And then Trusty, going back to Trusty, he could have had a better clearance initially after the Freese mess. Trusty had a chance to poke it out, and it looked like he was trying to like poke it under control into an area for Dest to get onto it instead of just sort of doing the, youth soccer, get it out anywhere.
Just kick it like 30 yards out of bounds on the sideline. Yeah. Okay. All right. So a little blame for Trusty on the initial clearance, not on the header, and some blame on Freeman for getting rinsed, and mostly a lot of blame on Freeze for creating the whole mess in the first place.
Yep. It's voice. Got to use your voice. Big boy voice there.
Okay. That's the end of the first half. We're going to take a break and come back with the second half of this. We're going to take another break and come back with the second half. Just bear with me here, Greg. I would ask you, if you've thought about becoming a patron in the past, to take action. We want to do a good job covering and celebrating the World Cup, and that will require some investment on our part. Travel, lodging, maybe even tailgates on the West Coast for once. So we need your help. Join the Patreon. If you do, you get all our episodes ad-free, and if you join at $5 a month or more, you get the lovingly crafted clip notes videos of all the key actions in games like this one, or from the weekend of club action. So consider joining. The link is in the show notes. We'll be back shortly. And we're back. We didn't come out transcendent in the second half, but it started to look like Uruguay didn't want to be there anymore. And you're saying they didn't want to be there from the beginning. But I mean, it really started to look like they didn't want to be there in the second half to me. But they did make some subs. Brian Rodriguez, Joaquin Piquera, and Rodrigo Aguirre came on for Salazar, Viña, and Vinas. And, Trusty is passing well. Luna is not passing well in the early part of the second half. There's a Dest Rabona that really, we got a replay of it, but really not an effective action from him.
The effect is the Rabona itself. That is,
there we go.
It exists unto itself.
Yeah. What is that quote from? It exists unto itself. I feel like I've heard that a lot lately.
I don't know, but I love that probably is how Death thinks of it. He's like, now there's a video of me doing this Rabona, and that is valuable.
Yeah. Nico Cantor appreciated it for sure. 48th minute, nice step from Freeman, finds Tillman in midfield. He plays in Haji, and this is like Haji in his wheelhouse, dribbling at a guy, left side of the box, going at the goal. He cuts in on Araujo. He has a moment to shoot, can't quite get his feet set, and takes another touch, and then it gets poked away, like near the penalty marker. Berhalter wins it back, as he did so often in this game, to Tillman. Tillman takes a touch to his left and shoots well from 20 yards, but right at the keeper.
It's fun. I mean, there isn't much to analyze. It's just fun attacking stuff that's pretty messy, all told.
Yeah. I guess this is one where I'd like to see Haji get a shot off, because if he does, he He gets a shot off here. He puts it on frame. Really good chance he scores. He's just good at striking the ball. Just needs to get have that plan be a little bit more airtight for getting the shot off.
Yeah, this match resembled more his cameo against Ecuador than his run against Australia.
Yeah. So now we get into some really messy stuff. Betancourt stamps on Tolkien's foot in the 50th minute, gets a yellow card. Pretty bad game for the Tottenham man. 57th minute, extended pressure from Uruguay in our defensive third. It ends with Arrascaeta testing freeze at the near post. So I think this one on replay might have snuck in, but Freeze palms it out for a corner. You want him to make this save, I would think.
For sure. If he didn't get there, then it'd be very much like a caught napping situation to not have the near post covered. Or again, like too afraid to dive towards his own post. But he, despite, the standard turtle effect, has pretty comfortably got this covered.
He did his head ran into the post, his head and shoulder, so it looked like it kind of hurt a little bit. The 58th minute, a throw in from Freeman down the line for Berhalter, and some nice work from him to sort of hold off Oliveira, or I think he holds off Piquera, and then splits him and Oliveira, and then gets chopped down by Piquera in the final third for a dangerous set piece, but a good little bit of dribbling from him. 60th minute, Tillman gives it away just outside our box, trying to meg Betancourt, and he takes it and rips one that goes like 6 yards wide of the post. But from the original angle, it looked like it was closer than it was.
Yeah, and I don't know how you were experiencing this game, but I didn't have the full grasp of like how indifferent Uruguay were playing. And they're starting to get some shots. Did you feel like, oh, it's safe, it's 4-1 and we're cruising? It was like, don't let them back in. Like, it very much felt like, come on, fellas, like don't give something up, because we're not good enough to just know that we can hold on even at 4-1. So it didn't feel to me like it was game over. Yeah,
I guess. I mean, I didn't watch most of it live for various boring family reasons, but by the time I watched it start to finish, I knew what had happened.
Okay.
So I didn't have the same.
You didn't have that tension. All right. Yeah, I just, there's something about, like, I think it probably goes back to the Confederations Cup final from 15 years ago. Sticks with you.
Oh yeah, against Brazil. Yeah. Up 2-0, losing 3-2.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, you cannot let you give up one more, and like, we're the US, we'll fray. We'll start to show some nerves. But again, to our credit, I don't think there was much fraying. And I don't know that Uruguay was pushing it the way a team would in a cup final or even a group stage match next summer. But it was calm. It was a calm, messy performance.
So, I mean, soccer's just such an interesting game. The way it's like each team is like an organism, and the amount of effort you put in isn't even, like you're saying, even on the initial watch, it wasn't like it wasn't super clear to you. Maybe I'm reading too much into what you said. It wasn't super clear to you that Uruguay wasn't trying that hard. But if you're not trying hard, it like sort of, I don't know, something, it affects everything in kind of subtle ways that ultimately make you not as good. And if you are trying really hard, it affects you in a positive way, in the opposite way. It's a subtle thing that you don't always see right away, but
yeah. And it can, sometimes you might catch like how intense a team is. Again, the Copa America, you can't escape it. It envelops you. But if I was kind of distracted, and you're always just kind of watching the next thing. So a guy gets it wide open, and then you're just like, oh, what's he going to do with it? You're not like, how did that
happen?
Like, why is he that open? And then the second you do the rewatch and you back it up 10 seconds, and you're like, oh no, like they are really phoning this in. Then you can't not see it for the rest of the time. You're like, oh, that midfielder is just walking 10 yards behind the play. There's no thought given to involving himself in what's going to happen here. So yeah, live, I didn't have that sense. It was very much like, come on, boys, like, don't give this away. You guys have done, you've got this, you've built this. Maintain it, please.
That is a really good point. How like when you see Tolkien get the ball down the line and there's nobody near him, you're like, all right, this is exciting. Let's go. And you don't give any thought to like, how did he end up here? Okay. Subs. Ballo comes on for right. Tessman and Reyna come on for Dest and Luna. So Berhalter moves to the right side in our 4-4-2 defensive shape. Reyna's, I think, more in the 2 up top with right at this point. I mean, I don't even know why I'm saying that. I'm not even 100%. It's true. Sure, it's true, but
the important thing is Reyna came in as the first sub, right? Like that's
Yeah.
massive for this podcast in particular.
Yeah, for me.
For us personally.
Yeah.
We are so glad to sort of, I don't want to say be vindicated, but just to like, because I didn't know if Poch just didn't believe in Reyna, or if, you know, there had been some kind of off-field thing, or if he just doesn't think that a player who's not playing very much should play. But the early indications here are that Poch is like, Reyna's pretty good. Let's get him some more minutes.
Yeah.
Plus, it's a tight turnaround, and we know Reyna doesn't do a lot of tight turnarounds. So to have him playing at all, also, you know, fingers crossed he's available for Gladbach's next match.
I know. I mean, fingers very much crossed, just sweatily crossed. He played 5 minutes in this camp, which is, you know, I guess he's played 146 minutes in the Bundesliga so far this year. So he almost equaled his club total in this camp. And there's a straight red for Betancourt with sliding into a challenge on Berhalter. Studs up, foot over the ball, right into Seb's shin as he's swinging through. Extremely dangerous, and I think a pretty straightforward decision. So he's off. This wasn't 2 yellows. This was a straight red. And 68th minute, we get another good entry pass from Trusty that's dummied by Reyna to Ballo, who kind of flips it up in the direction of Tillman, who battles for it and then tries to tries to fizz it across, and it's cut out for a corner, on which we score another goal. This one is played short by Berhalter to Tolkien, and then he just taps it back to Reyna. He takes a touch and curls in. Nice ball. Tessman meets it. At first, when you watch it happen in real time in the game, it looks like kind of a glancing header, but it's more of he kind of thumps it in past the goalkeeper, who is well behind the play at this point. I mean, he's like picked a point in the trajectory of the ball that Tessman intercepts by a good 2-3 yards. Tessman's first senior goal. Reyna continues to, you know, vindicate all who love him and support him. 5-1 USA. Yeah,
and again, it's hard to know how much takeaway there is from like Reyna just clipping this ball in. It is. We've got good numbers. Again, Uruguay are head down as we're getting the ball into the corner, so we take it quickly while they are still trying to organize. And by the time Reyna hits it, I think it's 4-on-3 at the back post. So his cross eliminates, you know, the 3 near post Uruguay players who are not defending anybody. And so good on us to outnumber them, and good on Tessman to rise, because we've talked about him improving his aerial abilities, usually in more of like a winning aerial duels. But we'll take this too if this is something, because he's a large lad.
Yeah, he's 6'3", right? Yeah, he should be putting him in the goal with his head. And this is the one where you do blame the goalkeeper for being in the wrong place a little bit.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's like you come out sometimes and don't get it because you miss, and he came out and I don't know what he was thinking. Like, the ball will definitely get this low where I am to catch it. And yeah, it was such a terrible read. So that was a rough one for him.
Okay. Reyna gets a yellow for a pretty cynical chop on Nandez after being dispossessed by him. We get Arfston on for Tolkien. I mean, there's almost nothing left in this game, at least from a timeline point of view. Arfston for Tolkien, Brendo for Tillman at the 74-minute mark. There's the in the 75th minute where Balogun smacks Brian Rodriguez in the face and bloodies him pretty badly. There were Uruguay players surrounding the ref, lobbying for a card. Bielsa was just sitting on his water cooler with his hands folded, looking at his hands while this was all going on.
He's definitely contemplating some of the choices that he's made. And I mean that. It looks like a man who's like, should I be here? Is this what I want to be doing?
Yeah. Interesting. I wonder what he's really thinking. 81st minute, nice combination from us leading to Ballo getting it at his feet in the box where I think it comes in. I forget where it came in from the left side. And he tries to lay it off for Aronson. It's a poorly weighted pass, and it leads him out into the corner. And anyway, they call a foul because somebody fouled Aiden Morris on his way in for the beginning of this play. So that's it for the timeline. Are we back, Greg?
Yes. Again, like for all the, I feel like we've mostly stayed pretty central as the pendulum swung both directions now in the past 2 years, year and a half. Because I do think for the most part we are solid. We're not 5-1 World Cup knockout solid. I don't think
over Uruguay. We're not going to beat Uruguay 5-1 in a knockout game,
or teams worse than Uruguay. So it's nice, right? We get our 4 set piece adjacent goals. We get a what I would say throughout the window again. I think a good defensive performance. I think a really solid defensive showing. Paraguay got their goal, which again was a Zapruder, and even as we're assigning the blame, it's like these aren't huge mistakes. These are little things that I'm not really dinging anyone that hard for. And they didn't really have much else. So Uruguay were a mess, but we between 2 games to only allow what we allowed in front of our own goal, I think is a solid job for the structure of the team and the performance.
Who do you think did the most for their stock in this camp? Like maybe 2 or 3 guys.
I'm gonna go with Gio.
Yeah,
because again,
as
after much
Gio.
as we. Okay.
Well, go ahead. Well, go ahead. Speak on.
Well, I was just going to say, because you can, he had his contributions, but you can also say Seb Berhalter had contributions, right? Goal and an assist, so those are good counting stats for him. Is he? But I do think that there is just that subtlety that Gio brings, and people can mock us a little bit for maybe overplaying it, but the little like flicks he has that make his teammates ahead of him, put them in such good positions that we usually have to labor really hard to create. I think was obvious and present. So I think Pochettino knows what he's got here and is probably excited to sort of have him back in the fold. That could be proved totally wrong again when next camp comes around and Poch just doesn't call him up. But I'm feeling good about Gio.
Yeah, Gio's going to be here. And I do think probably even if he only plays 15 minutes a game the rest of the season, he's probably coming to the World Cup. He's just too good, and Poch knows. What about Austin Trusty? Do you think? I mean, he at least gets another audition after this.
It wouldn't surprise me at all because again, the center back is a lot like when we were talking about the center mids, where sure it can be rolled on, sure Tim Tillman, come on down. Any center back who is playing soccer, who is American right now, I feel like could step in, and I don't think we would really notice. So Trusty did it in this game, and he didn't do anything like really nice. I love that he had that pass for the assist. That's great after a set piece where it's just kind of everyone's in the wrong place. Like what's Freeman even doing there? I don't mean wrong like they're in they flow to where they should flow, but they're in places that you're not going to have them pop up. But I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if Trusty's not called into the next camp. If Poch is like, okay, that was cool. Thanks for doing that. I got a couple of guys I think are probably ahead of you. I don't know. I wouldn't mind, but I wouldn't mind seeing Austin Trusty in the next camp or in the 11 in June. Like that's just where I'm at with the center backs. There isn't a center back that would surprise me to be in our starting lineup because whoever they would be replacing also hasn't done much to be like, yeah, that guy needs to be on the field.
Okay. I'm trying to think anybody else come to mind as having helped their stock? I mean, besides Gio, basically.
Well, it's just some of the guys were so low that like John Tolkien and Tim Tillman, I love that Poch gives these guys the starts. They both like just held their own. So they went from 0. And again, I don't want to over-index because of the intensity of the game. But it's a nice game for them to be like, hey, I'm here. You can call me if you need me, and I will show up and give you a dependable performance. So those guys kind of just get that boost from being here and being part of it, and not falling on their face.
Right. Freeman. I mean, even outside of the goals, one of them a good set piece header, and one kind of a
twinkle toes,
a bit of a unicorn for him. But even outside of that, he did get rinsed before the goal, but it's going to happen sometimes. He had a pretty good game, I would say. Like, I like the way he can carry the ball forward. I like the way that opens some things up. He seems mostly pretty solid in defense. Is his stock up for you? Not really.
Well, I think it probably is, but again, it's just I wish Uruguay would have done better. Like I wish they would have pushed our guys more.
Yeah.
Because I think the whole thing I had going into this window was I was really excited to see some of these guys who are definitely competing for roster seats, like against really good teams. And so I wish Uruguay would have been better. Paraguay, I think Paraguay were Paraguay. And so the performance we got against those guys, I put stock in whatever we saw. I was like, that's good data. And here it was just like, man, I wish these guys would have been pushing Aiden Morris more. I wish that Berhalter would have been pushed. It's because it's also hard to take much from set pieces other than like that's an improvement on our set piece taking. We're never going to be like that guy's good for a set piece goal a game. So it's the increases there are going to be so sort of marginal that it's hard to have takeaways from scoring 4 set piece goals.
Well, I mean, at least we get with Berhalter, we get a chance to score a goal from our set piece. And I don't want to overstate how bad Pulisic's are. I just think he's like I don't think Berhalter is some superhuman set piece taker, but he is, I think, above average, and I think Pulisic is below average, even if he does get to take him for AC Milan. So
yeah, you just really wish that a more nailed on starter was the guy who was setting himself apart on the set pieces. Because if Berhalter's not on the field, then it's like, then it's like, oh, well, it's not Seb, so I guess Pulisic, you're as good as anyone else.
I guess, yeah. Gio, maybe. I guess it's not going to be Wes because you want Wes in the box. And I don't know, has he ever taken a set piece in his life? Maybe not. I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point. It is so hard to predict what Poch is going to do. And I guess, do you just default back to like he's gonna ultimately do with the World Cup roster what we all thought he should do to begin with?
Oh man, I have no idea. I really don't. I don't think of Seb Berhalter, despite his set pieces, as being a guy that we have to have, because it's sort of like Brad Davis from 2014. Like, I don't know that he's good enough to get on the field for the express purpose of taking set pieces. So then it's like he's out, but Poch could totally think differently, and he's in, and Tessman's out, or whoever it would be. So I really don't know how Poch views this stuff. I mean, I kind of at some point believe him philosophically when he says we don't have regulars.
He just doesn't want anybody to think they're regulars, and until like the World Cup until the roster is announced. But I guess my thinking is he is essentially going to call up the guys that he got so mad at in March. Like that's what's ultimately going to happen.
I think most of them, yeah. I think like I don't think Pulisic is left off the roster. I don't think Weah is left off the roster. I don't know where Joe Scally lands, but I guess the thing that we're seeing through this window, through South Korea, in Japan and through Ecuador and Australia is, again, very few guys hurting their cases. So then it just becomes, what does Poch consider as like solid enough that maybe non-soccer factors or fit jump someone over a guy that we all consider sort of just better overall. And like Yunus Musa is kind of that guy right now, where it's just like, yeah, Yunus maybe just isn't anyone. But the idea being, Poch could make that call about anyone else too.
Yeah. I guess, yeah, it does feel like Eunice is probably going to be the odd man out, but
there's going to be more. There's going to be several odd men out. That's the thing with all these guys not being bad, with so many people not falling on their face. There's going to be guys who have done solid for Pochettino who get left out. It's going to be Pepe again.
Yeah, it might. Oh man, that would be so sad, but it might happen. Well, we should do a roster episode, like a projected roster episode in the next few weeks if we can.
We were due.
That was a fun game. I hope everybody enjoyed it. We sure did. Thanks, Greg. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you.